1. The locked room. I had just moved into my new apartment and decided to explore every room. One door at the end of the hallway was locked, and the landlord had warned me never to open it. Curiosity got the best of me, and I picked the lock. Inside, the room was completely empty except for a single chair facing the corner. I felt a cold breeze and turned to leave, but the door slammed shut. The chair creaked, and I turned to see an emaciated figure sitting there, smiling eerily. "I've been waiting for you," it whispered, and the room went dark. 2. Wax Museum Nightmare. Visiting the Wax Museum was supposed to be a fun trip. The figures were lifelike, their eyes seeming to follow me as I walked through the exhibits. I reached the horror section and felt a shiver run down my spine. The last figure in the row looked exactly like me. It was uncanny. I stepped closer, and the wax figure's eyes blinked. It moved its hand, pointing at me, and mouthed, "Help me." Before I could react, the lights went out, and I felt cold hands gripping my shoulders. When the lights came back, I was frozen in place, staring at a new wax figure that looked just like me. 3. Midnight Fuel. Driving late at night, I needed gas and stopped at a deserted station. The air was thick with silence as I filled my tank. Inside the shop, I noticed the clerk's eyes were lifeless, staring blankly. He moved mechanically, ringing up my purchase without a word. As I left, I saw a newspaper on the counter with the headline, "Murder Spree at Local Gas Station." The date was today. Panicked, I looked at the clerk again, and he smiled coldly, whispering, "You're next." I turned to run, but the door was locked, and the lights flickered out. 4. Deadly Session. Recording music late at night always brought out my creativity. Alone in the studio, I played back my latest track. Through the headphones, I heard faint whispers and strange noises. I rewound the tape, but the whispers grew louder, now forming words. "He's here," they said. I felt a presence behind me and turned to see nothing. The whispering continued, more frantic. I ripped off the headphones, but the voices filled the room. I looked at the recording equipment, and on the screen, a message flashed, "Get out." I bolted for the door, but it wouldn't open. The last thing I heard was a voice whispering, "Welcome to the afterlife." 5. Mall of Shadows. Working late shifts at the mall was usually boring, but tonight felt different. The corridors were eerily quiet, and the mannequins in the stores seemed to be watching me. As I walked past a toy store, I heard laughter and saw a shadow move. I followed it, thinking it was a prank, but the store was empty. The laughter grew louder, echoing through the halls. I turned a corner and saw a group of children standing silently, their eyes glowing. They pointed at me, and I felt a sudden coldness. I ran, but every exit was blocked. The children's laughter surrounded me as the lights flickered out, trapping me in darkness. 6. Diner of the Damned. Stopping at a 24-hour diner, I needed a break from my road trip. The place was nearly empty, just me and an old couple in the corner. The waitress seemed off, her smile too wide and her movements too stiff. I ordered a coffee and waited. The couple stared at me, unblinking. When the coffee arrived, it was ice cold. I looked up to see the waitress's eyes had turned black. The couple stood up and started walking toward me. "Join us," they chanted. I bolted for the door, but it was locked. The last thing I saw was the waitress's grin widening, her teeth sharp and glistening. 7. The Forgotten Room. House-sitting for a friend seemed like an easy job. The house was large, with many rooms. One night, I heard noises coming from the attic. I climbed the creaky stairs and found an old, dusty room filled with forgotten belongings. In the corner, a small, ancient-looking box caught my eye. I opened it and found a diary. The entries detailed a life filled with sorrow and ended abruptly with the words, "Do not open the box." Suddenly, the room grew cold, and I felt a presence. The door slammed shut, and the last words I heard were, "Now you're part of the story." 8. Museum of Horrors. Visiting the Old History Museum after hours was my idea of fun. The exhibits were fascinating, but the place was creepy when empty. I wandered into a new section that wasn't open to the public yet. The artifacts seemed ancient and sinister. One display held a cursed amulet, said to steal the soul of anyone who touched it. Ignoring the warnings, I reached out and touched the amulet. Instantly, I felt a searing pain. My vision blurred, and I saw flashes of other people's lives ending in terror. The last image was of me, trapped inside the amulet, forever screaming in silence. 9. The Wrong Cabin. A weekend getaway in a secluded cabin sounded perfect. The first night, I heard whispers outside my window. I brushed it off as the wind. The next day, strange things started happening. Doors creaked open, and items moved on their own. I found an old journal under the bed, detailing the lives of previous occupants who had all disappeared mysteriously. Panic set in as I read the last entry. "He's coming for you." I looked up to see a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figure moved closer, and I realized I was the next entry in the journal. 10. Night at the museum. Working night shifts at the Natural History Museum, I enjoyed the peace and quiet. One evening, while doing rounds, I noticed one of the dinosaur skeletons had moved. Dismissing it as a trick of the light, I continued my patrol. But the sounds of bones creaking and footsteps followed me. I returned to the exhibit to find the dinosaur skeletons posed as if alive, their empty eye sockets staring at me. I heard a roar and turned to see one of the skeletons lunging at me. I ran, but the exits were locked. The last thing I saw was a dinosaur skeleton looming over me, jaws wide open. Thank you for watching, especially to the subscribers, for supporting our stories. What story do you like the most? For more short stories under 10 minutes, click on the video on your screen, or if you want longer stories based on real-life events or fictionals, click on the playlist appearing on your screen now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thrilling tales. See you in the next video.